All right, let's do a quick reading of the Drudge Report for July 12th, 2019. The top story: Epstein's Temple of Sex. If you haven't been watching CNN or MSNBC or any mainstream media sources and you're well informed, then you know all about this satanic worship temple on his private island. And if you have been watching mainstream media, then you probably don't know about it because they don't talk about it. So since we know about this, we'll scroll down. I'm on the left column. Zuck off easy. Feds give Facebook $5 billion slap after privacy abuse. So what happens is Mark Zuckerberg is very loose with all your data. He loses your data. He sells your data. And then I think half of Facebook's users' data was stolen. All of your data. And what happens when he's that loose with your and my data is the government steps in and takes $5 billion from him that me or you or any of the victims who get identity theft from him being so loose with your data never ever see. So that's a nice circle. It's very similar to when, who is it? The credit report people said how they were hacked, and they didn't admit to it until it was broken in the news, and I think it was 500 million users' data was stolen, and that's all of your financial data. And then they came out and said, we're very sorry to our customers, and we will be better with your data moving forward. And my response to that was, I'm not your customer. You hold my data hostage. If I had a choice, I wouldn't let you have any of my data because you use it against me. I'm not a customer. And you know what? Neither are most of the people who are listening to this. But company has market value of $585 billion. Yeah, it's a ridiculous slap on the wrist. I saw that the shares went up. Amazon robot to roam home. Invite another camera into your house, even though they got caught. I think it was today, going through recordings of people who they really shouldn't be going through recordings. Alexa calls 911 on a man beating his girlfriend. It's a great example. How does it, shouldn't be beating your girlfriend, obviously, but the thing's listening. As a matter of fact, I was sitting in a house with my buddy, and we were talking, and it was late. We were up very late, and we were going through some hypotheticals, and I started to say something that I wouldn't necessarily want other people to hear outside of the conversation I was having with him. We had been sitting there talking for hours. And this ring lights up behind me, and I turn around and look at it. And I said, that's been here this whole time? Yeah, it has. Is it weird that it just lit up at this particular moment? Dude, super weird was the answer. Coney Island Beach closed after Coney Island Beach closed after decomposing human remains found in water. Oh, it's sad. Biden vows to restore world order. He didn't have any order in the world when he was the vice president. He says he could get things like Russia and China and North Korea under control. But he was in office for 8 years. Vladimir Putin actually stole land. Took land. That's something that doesn't happen anymore. People don't just take land in a military maneuver. Sure happened under Joe Biden's watch, this old fossil. What a degenerate. Stumbles, slurs, coughs through speech. Have you seen interviews with him? He is slow. Man, these people aren't all there anymore. Nancy Pelosi, time to go. But unfortunately, the people coming up to replace him, I'll take these old neoliberal warhawk fossils. I don't know if that's what you'd call them. Trump's cave on census stuns allies. Total waste of everyone's time. Now, I don't understand this because I was watching the social media summit and he announced that he was doing an executive order. He even had his attorney general right next to him, and his attorney general spoke. So what the hell could have happened? That's ridiculous. Trump's cave. There it is. That's the scene. Top figures in the conservative are stunned and depressed by President Trump's cave in this fight. Sources say Leonard Leo and the Federalist Society stalwarts were shocked and floored by how weak the decision was. What was this dance? Total waste. A week after insisting he was absolutely moving on. Trump said, there used to be a time you could probably declare I remember. Senior minister summoned the internal frustration of the opposition. What's sad is the president has been right on this since day one. But it's too hard and too long a road legally. Too often bow to the courts and treat them like a higher branch when this is ripe for a fight with the American people in full support. Dude, this is some bullshit. Because what happened here was the court, if I recall correctly, the court said it was okay, but his justification wasn't good enough. How is it possible that something like this, putting a citizenship question on the census, a question that used to be there, has to go before the Supreme Court? Why is that even heard? Why isn't it just thrown out? Why are the conservative people voting against it? That's the big problem here, and that's why we're destined to lose, is because we think of ourselves as people of character, and you know what? Damn it, I am. But we're fighting an opposition that doesn't believe in character at all. Ilhan Omar gave a speech to a group of kids at I think it was an elementary school or a high school. It was a school. About 300 people in attendance. And she was saying how she was sitting in court one day, and there was a black woman, and she was on the stand, and she was being prosecuted, and she was stealing a loaf of bread to feed her children. And she stood up and screamed, "How could you do this?" as she was convicted, and she had to pay $80 in restitution. She literally described the plot of the play Les Miserables. Les Miserables, for those of you, Americans out there. So she describes the plot of a play to these people. And what happens? No one calls her out on it. The media doesn't say anything about it. And she told this story to this 300-person room. And they're all thinking, oh, the American legal system stack up against us. America's bad. And then she just moves on to the next thing, continues her lying. It's insane. And here we are standing on principle. Well, you should be able to do this, but your reasoning just wasn't good enough here. It's fucking crazy. 30-pack as a toddler seat. I don't know why I keep skipping up there. Thanks, Drudge. It's a really good article. Mom arrested with kids inside inflatable pool. South Korea dog meat. Rallies erupt. Let them eat whatever they want to eat. Why do people get involved in other people's countries? Bought brothels, cannabis growing, teen violent prodigy, latest Calvin Klein, drug craze. Chess player caught cheating with phone during tournament. What a degenerate. We don't need to click on it. Eating nuts, key to mental sharpness. I know some people who would disagree with that. Okay. Mystery surrounding Epstein's private island. It's no mystery to me. I know what he's doing there. And then, you know what? Our great and noble Justice Department lets him go with a slap on the wrist. And then before some documents are going to come out, they decide to arrest him again. It's disgusting. And you know what? This guy also has connections to James Comey. What's his connection to James Comey? Oh, his daughter's prosecuting him. So Comey's daughter is the one prosecuting him in New York. Did you know he has connections to Robert Mueller? Or is it Attorney General William Barr? One of their fathers gave Jeffrey Epstein his first job as a teacher. It's shady, and it screams of some kind of CIA or deep state type deal. What are the odds of this? James Comey's daughter's prosecuting, and Barr or Mueller, one of his fathers, gave him his first job. Get out of here. You know what? What I really think is going to happen with this case is it's going to drag on a little bit, and then things are going to get hot right before the election. And then it's going to be some kind of deep fake video where they get some witnesses out there saying it's really Trump. And that's what I think they're going to do 2 weeks before the election. I think this is a plot. And I don't think anything's going to happen to anyone else. And I hope I'm wrong. Dozens of new accusers. Look for them pulling out all the stops on this one. They're going to have people accusing and then recanting, and they're going to have people get broken in court. They're going to pay people to look dumb, and then they're going to try to make the case. This is billions of dollars and rich people going down. I mean, this is gonna be as dirty as it gets. Could I have some news with my emotions, please? I saw a guy crying on Fox News the other day. Dude, it makes me sick, man. Just act like grown-ups. Schwarzenegger invites Trump to compare tax returns. I don't care about his tax returns. Mueller hearing delayed. That's interesting. I wonder why it was delayed. Long-awaited testimony has been delayed a week, blah, blah, blah. Allow more time for Mueller to testify.
Okay, I'll admit I didn't keep my place as clean as I would like because I'm way too busy. Who's got the time to chase around dirt?
That's what I get for going to CNN. They're dying. It's so nice having the mainstream media just flailing around. And I heard people describe it as technology moves on and you have to keep up with the times. That's not what it is. And it's also not Trump telling everyone that it's fake news. It's not that at all. What it actually is you've just been lying so obviously for so long. And they blame it on Donald Trump that he's calling us fake news. No. Donald Trump rode the wave of everyone being so dissatisfied with your lies for so long. He saw it. He was dissatisfied with it, and he talked like a real person, and that's why he got elected. And the Republicans need to step up and get his back. This stuff, they should be out there screaming about a census question. The reason they can't have a census question is because they don't want to know that there's 50 million illegal immigrants in the country, and they want their money, and they want an extra however many seats they get by counting the illegal immigrants. So California, they divvy up House seats by population. And the idea is that you only count citizens, so they get less house seats. They also get less money to their districts, because guess what? The money should only be going to citizens. But they can't have that, because that'll exacerbate things. They want as much power as they can get. That's the whole reason the border's open. That, and also, it's a Democratic voting bloc. And they also are horrible racist people, and they hate our culture. They don't think we should have a culture. Raging wildfire forces Hawaii evacuations. That's not good. Peter Fonda on Easy Rider. I'm not interested. Women, child living home with grandma's corpse for years. What? Texas child. A lot of good going on in Texas, guys. A lot of good people. Satanists take city council court to lead meeting invocation. When there's open Satanists, it's really, our society is just degenerating so quickly. It's so sad. Alien moon likely seen forming in first picture of its kind. Disabled military vet could lose home over $236 in back taxes. Well, start a GoFundMe. I'm sure you can get that, bud. That's the way we take care of our vets is atrocious. Therapy cows. That's not degenerate and ridiculous. Hurricane Barry coming through. He already came. And I heard Bill Maher on the news saying how he had a scandal-free presidency. They live in a different world. He even named Fast and Furious. He even named Solyndra. He named Benghazi. You know what he didn't name? He didn't name the IRS scandal, which I think is the most significant one. That before an election, to shut down the competition. And then he doubled down on that the next election. And what did he do? Oh, he only investigated Donald Trump and put spies in Trump's campaign. It's fucking insane. A scandal-free presidency. This is what you get from the mainstream media. It's the biggest scandal in American history, and no one's talking about it. Meanwhile, the president is in open war with the deep state, and no one is bringing it up. It's insanity. It's their narrative, push the narrative, push the narrative, push the narrative. Reality just doesn't matter to him. You should have seen this woman interviewing Tommy Robinson on his way into jail yesterday, whenever it was. And she was saying, so you're going in for disrupting the court and these are your charges? He said, no, I'm going in for making the Muslim pedophiles anxious. And it doesn't bother you that I'm being charged with exactly what you're doing now. I'm being charged with asking convicted people about how they feel on their way into court. So how do you feel about your sentence? That's her response when he says, it doesn't bother you as a journalist that I'm being convicted for what you're doing right now. Does not compute. Narrative. It's ridiculous. Constant stream of illegals entering the country. But don't worry, they don't vote. You know, they would never vote in our elections. By the way, no voter ID because that's racist. It's fucking crazy. Every day just keeps flowing across. If you think we're going to solve the problem on the border, we can't even ask if you're a citizen on a fucking census. It's not going to happen. It makes me sad, and I want to be optimistic. Trump called mayor a disgrace for revealing ICE raids, then did same thing. I read this headline earlier. Show it to me. Man, I need ad blocker bad. This is ridiculous. Trump called Oakland mayor a disgrace for revealing ICE raids, then he did the same thing. Tipped off residents, paranoid Trump called her action disgrace. Blah, blah, blah. Penalties for officials, yeah. No better than the gang, yeah, got it. Next week, ICE will begin the process of removing millions of illegal aliens. Is that the same thing? Are they comparing Trump making an announcement that ICE raids are coming to the mayor of Oakland where it's targeted raids and telling the people who are in those neighborhoods that there's raids coming? I don't think that's the same. It's the difference between saying, hey, ICE is gearing up in this neighborhood and they're going to be doing raids or in your area versus telling people nationwide. I don't think so. That's different. And he's also telling people for political reasons. He's not telling people so they, can hide or do whatever they do. Future asylum seekers sent to Guatemala. That's what I'm talking about. Deep fakes. Get ready for the biggest first one ever. Maybe. New Lion King movie. Grim and dark. Disastrous. Opens big in China. Much satisfying. You guys notice they don't make comedy movies anymore? They don't even make them. Do you remember like Wedding Crashers and Pineapple Express? They don't even make this stuff anymore. That's where we've gone with political correctness. And then, Saturday Night Live, which has sucked for a long time. Late night TV, just all leftist claptraps. It's sad. I hope you don't watch it anymore. Bottom 50% of consumers showing signs of weakness. Okay. I think this stuff is ridiculous. 12,000 more stores closing by the end of the year. When JCPenney's and Sears closes, what are we doing? The government just awards Amazon with their cloud, their new military cloud. That's a great idea, by the way. That's a great to put all your things in cloud. They should be using tubes and the old on paper and sending it through tubes. They shouldn't be doing anything with a wire in it. Everything gets stolen by China. It needs to all be on paper again. $12,000 stores. So they want one company to own all of retail. And everyone's okay with this. It should have been broken up a long time ago. It's too much. Sears and JCPenney going out of business. 12,000 more stores. I have no problem with people going in and out of business, but you know what? Amazon, you won. But you put together the best thing. It is 100% the best, and damn is it convenient. But you know what? We can't have you control this much of the economy. We can't have you control all of retail. It's just too risky. You ever hear too big to fail? I guess we don't believe in too big to fail because they're bigger now than they ever were. But it's too much. It's just too big. And I said it a bunch of times. One company can't control all of retail. It's crazy. Views of greenery reduce cravings for food and alcohol. Bullshit studies. They probably got $1 million grant from us to do it. And that's it. So that was our first reading of the Drudge Report. And hopefully we have some better news tomorrow. I'm really anxious to see what this Epstein comes out of it. I'm nervous about it. And I can't help. It's nice that they're arresting disgusting globalist pedophiles, and I hope there's a lot more. But at the same time, I just can't get my hopes up anymore. And the citizenship thing is just confusing to me. What is the last minute back room? He made an announcement with his attorney general. His attorney general spoke and had his back, and then to back away from it. So strange. And the article, no information in the article. I want an answer on that. I want to know what really happened. Anyway, but that's it. That's a wrap, and this was a reading of the Drudge Report. Have a nice night.